Konnichiwa, Japan fans. Today's show, we're going to talk about selling and mindset. Eigo desu. それでは行きましょう. So let's get going. This is the 8th year of the Sales Japan Series podcast, broadcasting around the world from the Beverly Hills of Japan, Minato-ku here in downtown Tokyo. It is chic central. I'm your host, Dr. Greg Story, Dale Carnegie Tokyo franchise owner, the president of Dale Carnegie Tokyo Training, and the 3-time best-selling author of Japan Sales Mastery, which is Zaegyo in Japanese, Japan Business Mastery, and Japan Presentations Mastery, or in Japanese, Anata mo Presen no Tachijin. My other books include Stop Wasting Money on Training, which in Japanese is Tonin de Okane o Mori ni suru no wa yamemashou. And my just released new book is Japan Leadership Mastery, and all are available on Amazon. In this podcast, I want to help you to survive and even better, thrive in business. I want you to 1, sell more and do it more easily. 2, exceed your targets. In fact, let's blow up your targets. Number 3, make some serious money. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your family, friends, and colleagues. We're not being sponsored by Libsyn, but we value your privacy, which is why we have our podcast hosted by Libsyn. Unlike many other hosting organizations, Libsyn have a strict policy that does not allow access to your private information by anyone. Here is our daily podcast lineup on Apple Podcasts. Mondays, the Cutting Edge Japan Business Show podcast. Tuesday, the Presentations Japan series. And every second Tuesday, the Business Tachijin no Oshie Show. Wednesdays, the Sales Japan series. Thursdays, the Leadership Japan series. And every second Thursday, the Business Pro Podcast Show. Fridays, the Japan Business Mastery Show podcast. Saturdays, Japan's top business interviews. Now, this is episode number 405, and today we're going to be talking about the required mindset for selling in Japan. Salespeople turn up in Japan and expect things to be pretty much the same as where they've come from. After all, sales are sales, right? Wrong. Japan, as usual, is quite different. If these newly arrived salespeople have received training on how to sell, then they are probably going to try a consultative sales approach. This is absolutely what they should be doing, except as I found the hard way, it doesn't work in Japan. The consultative approach at base has a very sensible and basic idea. Ask the client what they want, and then give it to them. Simple stuff, you would think, and universally applicable around the globe. The issue in Japan is the client won't open up and tell you what they need. Buyers have been trained by crap salespeople here to expect a pitch of what you have to offer. The buyer wants to lean back and shred it, attempting to sort out the risk factor involved. If you come to the buyer and start asking questions about their firm's current situation, it goes nowhere. They don't see this as a means of you better understanding their situation so that you can provide the most relevant and effective assistance. They see it as prying, as exposing their dirty little embarrassing secrets to total strangers and exposing all of their failure points and weaknesses unfiltered to the outside world. We may start with our classic consultative sales approach and hit a wall on our first question. What is the current situation for your company? This sounds innocuous enough, but that is not how the buyer interprets it. They feel, I can't answer this salesperson's questions because I don't know them well enough and the trust is not sufficiently built yet. That is a big gap from the get-go. At this point, they usually segue into, tell me about what you do and about your products. This is bad. We're now throwing mud at the wall and praying something will stick. This is not much of a sales strategy. How can you ever get the pitch right if you have no idea at all about what they need. Most of us come to client sales meetings packing numerous products and solutions, but which one will hit the mark and get the deal? In the West, we're very logical. The salesperson is generally interested in what we need, and if what they are saying seems to make sense, then we are prepared to look at buying. The Western buyer is not terrified of making a mistake. They're not fearful of sharing information with strangers. They're not dubious about foreigners selling them stuff. They are looking for ways to help their firm do better in the market, for methods to outfox their competitors, and gain an unfair advantage of the hand-to-hand commerce of commerce. Find out more. We come back from the break. Our show today is brought to you by our public courses, and we also have custom in-house programs as well as both in Japanese and English. We do classes in our super safe classroom and we do them live online. The show today is being brought to you by, on the 14th and 15th of October, our High Impact Presentations course. On the 18th, we'll be doing leadership training for managers, starting the 3-day version. Our website is www.dale-carnegie.co.jp. Email me at greg.story@dalecarnegie.com. If you like learning by watching videos, then we have over 2,300 there for you at Tokyo, Japan, Dale Carnegie TV on YouTube. We release 3 shows every week on YouTube. The Cutting Edge Japan Business Show, that's the premier business show in Japan, every Monday, Tokyo time. Fridays, we have the Japan Business Mastery Show, and on Saturdays, we release Japan's top business interviews, where I interview leaders from SMEs right up to the corporate captains of industry on one topic, leading in Japan. Now, every second Thursday, we release the Business Pro Television Show. Don't forget to grab my business best-selling books on Japan on Amazon. Japan Sales Mastery, which is Saegyo in Japanese, Japan Business Mastery, and Japan Presentations Mastery, or in Japanese, Anata mo Presen no Tachijin. My other books include Stop Wasting Money on Training, which in Japanese is Training de Okane o Muru ni suru no wa yamemashou, and my just released new book is Japan Leadership Mastery, and all are available on Amazon. Welcome back. The Japanese buyer is very conscious that if they introduce something new, like a new supplier, and anything goes wrong, they personally will lose face and will suffer in the internal future promotion stakes. They are not focused on helping the firm to do better because they are driven by their own private self-interest. They've also discovered that the safest path forward is the one of doing nothing new. I was talking to the HR manager of a car dealership about some sales training for their firm. They have had sales training before, but the results were not impressive. My angle was, try us as a new approach. Bring in something fresh and differentiate your salespeople from all your competitors. I thought that was a pretty conclusive and convincing angle to wedge us into getting the business. Weeks later, I was told they went with another firm who specializes in sales training for dealerships. This is what they had been doing in the past and not getting the change they wanted. Despite that failed track record, the safest path forward is always to do what you've always done in Japan and take no risks with anything new. I know they will get the same results that they've always gotten, but everyone will feel safe and no one will lose their job or miss their promotion. In Japan, we need to set up the consultative approach by getting permission to ask questions first before we launch forth. In the West, we never have to do this step because everyone gets it. Not Japan, though. Here is the simple, quick formula. 1, explain who you are. 2, explain what you do. 3, talk about who else you've done it for and the results. 4, suggest you could possibly get similar results for them. But to know if that is possible or not, would you mind if I ask you a few questions? In 95% of cases, this works. And I get permission to dig into their dirty laundry and find out their burning platform problems. However, there are still those unreformed buyers who just brush that effort aside and bark out, "Give me a pitch." Hearing that, I really want to cut my losses and leave right there and then. I want to chug down my cheap, ancient, bitter, horrible green tea and depart immediately. I've been here before. I know that without understanding their needs, I have little chance of talking about the things of most value to them. Sadly, I don't do a runner, because that would be abrupt and considered rude in Japan. I soldier on, fully understanding every minute with this non-buyer is keeping me away from a buyer who will buy. Consultative sales can be done in Japan, but it needs some modifications to allow for the pitch fest mentality on the part of the buyers. Once we understand where they are coming from, we can work our way around the resistance to get to the heart of their issues. Hopefully, we have a solution that will work. If we don't, we shouldn't waste our time or theirs, and we should go find a buyer we can help. Thank you for joining the Sales Japan series. If you found the program useful, then please work on your karma and share this with your family, friends, and colleagues. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast. Immediately apply what you've learned. Go out there and survive. Use it and make some serious money. Bucks, dough, ruler, coin, dosh, lolly, readies, smackers, earners, and bread and honey. Remember, I'm in your corner, your go-to guy for soft skills training in Tokyo, committed to your success here in Nippon.